This is JR with Wazoo Media, and I want to talk to you about the Olympics. Now, as of today, the Olympics are over. The Paralympics are going on right now, but there's been some interesting things with the Olympics, and it has to relate with TikTok. So I've got this article about TikTok and the Olympics. But before we go into this, I want to talk first about my experience with the Olympics. I didn't watch a lot of it, and I was busy. I had a bunch of other stuff. I had a family trip that went on. I just really didn't have time, and so I watched some of it kind of live, but most of the time I was looking for clips. And I was looking for clips on NBC's YouTube page, trying to get highlights because I really didn't have time to sit through the whole thing. And I think some of the things that I remember was skateboarding. That was cool because it was the first time skateboarding was been in the Olympics. I saw swimming and I saw a couple of relays live. My favorite recaps were some of the martial arts stuff, judo, wrestling, and even fencing. Fencing was even interesting to watch this year. I've never watched fencing highlights or anything of that sort, but I enjoyed it. So the Olympics were fun to watch from the clip side. I didn't really get a chance to experience it from the live side, but with that experience, looking into how else I ingested the Olympics, it was really Instagram and Twitter. Definitely the memes on Twitter. But we're gonna jump into how this article talks about having TikTok stream the Olympics. So let's jump into this part right here. It says the network poised to deliver more accessible on-demand coverage in Tokyo than it ever did before, and that was what I did. I did it on demand with clips, and that was the only way I could do it. As anyone relied on streaming to watch the Olympics will tell you, things panned out a little differently, with technical limitations and streaming snafus snarling the coverage. If you don't believe me, just search "How do I watch the Olympics" on Twitter, and which will return thousands of angry tweets from people desperate just to find out how they can stream the freaking gymnastics already. And I had issues watching it live myself. It just wasn't clear. It just the feeds just kept in and out, and it was delayed. It wasn't enjoyable to watch from what I remember. Moving on, for cord cutters, the problem was particularly pernicious. If you wanted to watch the opening ceremony, for example, you're out of luck because Peacock didn't carry it at all. Basketball fans were also left in the lurch, since the entire sport was paywalled in an apparent bid to woo viewers into one of Peacock's paid tiers. If you wanted to watch the 4K Olympics coverage, NBC had the promise it would be streaming. That was too bad for you, since 4K isn't supported by Peacock. And going into 4K with streaming, yes, everyone who has 4K TVs and higher will be able to experience the 4K experience. But for me, I was on the road, I was on the go. I had my little device, my cell phone with me, and or my iPad, and that was how I caught up on it. So does 4K really matter for something like a live event? Maybe not. Moving on. Sure seems like a lot of issues for one platform to have surrounding its biggest broadcast moment in the last 2 years, but you know which platform didn't deliver crushing disappointment? It was TikTok. TikTok proved to be a delightful, intuitive, and personal way to experience the moments of the Olympics that mainstream coverage missed. And for myself, seeing the highlights, seeing the clips, was really I was able to search by hashtags with it, and because people were clipping it in real time and putting it in a 9:16 vertical, they were able to put versions of it out quicker than I think even putting that NBC was able to put it on their YouTube. So number one part is speed. Speed is the key. Speed is definitely the key. TikTok also made headlines for providing other intimate moments, including behind the scenes, personality driven shots, videos shot by the athletes themselves. Where was Peacock when British swimmer Adam Peaty whipped out his Olympic gold medal? Where was Peacock when athletes were weight testing those cardboard beds in the Olympic Village? If you don't know, that's how the athletes were sleeping in the village. They had cardboard beds. So I did follow a couple athletes on Instagram, and some of them did some live streaming. and I got to hear some behind the scenes stuff. One of them was Sam Kendricks. He was USA representative, pole vaulter. He was supposed to do really. He was rooted to do really well at the Olympics for pole vaulting. He ended up not being able to participate because he tested positive for COVID in Japan. He was following protocols in the U.S. He got one before he left for Japan, and then at the airport in Japan, he ended up testing positive. And while there wasn't too much reporting on it, following his live streams that he did on IG Live was how I was able to keep up with what he was doing. He did several live streams, and the one that kind of sucked, as far as it sucked for him, and I was able to, I felt empathize with, is that he had his wife on, and I remember him talking about that he was talking to his wife in front of thousands of his fans and followers, that he just wanted to go home. He just wanted to go home to his wife and to his loved ones and his family. And so that was going on to personal social media accounts of the athletes really changed the experience for me, in order to find out what was going on with each athlete that I wanted to follow. And so seeing all the issues that NBC had and Peacock for its live streaming ability, for myself, I had to find other ways in order to find out what was going on with the Olympics. And the biggest thing for me is that the on-demand, that I can just go on anytime and find out this information rather than having to be locked in to a TV in a different time zone to find out what's going on. So lastly, TikTok will probably never be able to provide the same wall-to-wall Olympic coverage that larger, better supported networks will be able to provide. But when the platform lacks size and resources for it in heart, ease of use, and videos of the Olympic team from New Zealand measuring their biceps. And for those reasons, I am advocating that the International Olympic Committee award TikTok a sizable contract to become the go-to streaming destination for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympic Games. Broadcast rights maybe have paid the IOC billions, but everyone involved owes TikTok a debt for making this year's games watchable. And this is an article from Gizmodo, thanks to the author here. So when we're looking at this, and we're looking at live streaming, and we're looking at different ways of being able to communicate, finding ease of use, and I think this article hit it at the end, is ease of use. And even for me personally, that was the way and how I was able to ingest the Olympics. It was looking at clips, finding hashtags on Twitter, on Instagram, and following the athletes directly was how I was able to figure out what was going on. And then a couple news articles here and there. But being able to see those highlights was really important for me as a way to be connected with the Olympics. I hope one day I get to go see the Olympics live. That would be really, really neat. But until then, on-demand content and being able to connect directly with the athletes is how I'm going to be able to enjoy the Olympics. And so we will see how the next Olympics will go. Only time will tell. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you liked it. If you are interested in catching up more of the news, you can see our link in the description for Morning Brew. Just go to waza.media/morningbrew in order to get a free daily subscription to all the latest and greatest. And until next time, see ya.